In fact, this was an important game changer enactment which was intended by the UPA government. Of course, should have been implemented at that time. And some of the opposition parties at that time felt that it has to be halted. I don't want to name, anybody can take that credit.
Exactly.
The question is, should have the select committee headed by senior member of the BJP, Shri Yashwant Sinha, headed that select committee, finance committee, consisting of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha members, and they presented the report in 2011. Quite promptly, the then UPA government came out with legislation. It was halted, again for the best reasons, which is known to the persons who opposed it. I'm not going to analyze all those matters here. At that time, a National Council of Applied Economic Research, NCAAR, they made a study as ordered by the 13th Finance Commission. And that study came out with a report that to provide gains to India's GDP, somewhere between 0.9 to 1.7%, that means the corresponding change in the absolute values of GDP over 2008-9 is expected to be between rupees 42,789 crore and rupees 83,899 crores respectively. The comparable dollar value of this is estimated to be between $18,850 million respectively. Now perhaps study was made in 2008-9. The bill was introduced promptly by the then UPA government. How many years have passed now? More than 7 to 8 years have passed. Ultimately, who is the loser in delaying it? It is the people of this country. They lost this money. 83,890 crores, maybe 1.5 lakh crores as on today.
No, on an annual basis.
Annual basis. It is annual basis.
Every year.
And just imagine the loss to the country, to the people, in our political gamble. We do not see the interest of the people. We don't connect ourselves to the people.
12 lakh crores.
We talk, in fact.
Total 12 lakh.
Yeah, total 12 lakh crores. We lost it. This is how one economist, in fact, said that, like the bankers with the micro forecasting models, in fact, is the Maurice Cowling who remarked it, that politicians only know what they need to know. Politicians only know what they need to know. This need not be much. What they need to know is enough to gain or retain power, or to remove a party from power, or to gain a power for itself. These ideas which they govern are always supplied from outside politics. I'm just quoting it because, this is Keynes economics. A big analysis was given. I think we should rise above that. I think that is the intention of the present government also. We need to rise above that. But what is the loss to the country? Who is to make out that loss to this country, which is done to the people of this country and the country? 12 lakh crores we lost in the process. Now the bills have come. Because I have limited time, so that is why I don't want to illustrate everything. Madam, I believe that I have 25 minutes time to speak.
Your party has 30.
Pardon?
Your party has...
No, ultimately the time is given
that-
by you.
Yes.
In fact, I would like to deal with some details because it's a historical decision which we are taking. In fact, preparation for implementing as it been done to the satisfaction of the authorities concerned, whether the state or the center. And in fact, particularly small business and traders, they have to understand the nuances of the new law. Of course, it's a deliberately we avoided the Rajya Sabha, but it is claimed it is contrary to the statement made by the Honorable Finance Minister. It is the biggest step in the federal law. In the federal finances, you are the representative of the Council of States. Don't forget. Finance Minister, you are denying the right for yourself. I think the history will definitely reveal what kind of a deprivation we are doing to the federal concept and the structure of this great nation. We may be happy today because there is a absolute or a brute, I don't say brute, big majority here. I don't say bulldozing because Mr. Venkaiah Naidu said don't use that word bulldozing because of the majority. Nothing wrong. You have the right and you feel personally that you have a right to do it. You are deprived of the Rajya Sabha, which deals with the, otherwise what is the point in having the Council of States? If they don't have a voice to demonstrate the assault on the federal system in this country, I think if they have some pride, I think all of them should resign, according to me. All of them should resign. Some pride left. Sorry, the Rajya Sabha members hope that they have the pride. They will think about this. Because ultimately this will not happen. It's the biggest assault on the federal structure of the Constitution of India. I don't want to expand it. There are several working groups constituted to look into the specific issues of identified sectors like the banking, finance, insurance, telecom, exports, so and so. 10 groups, yes, you are right. But there are several other very important, crucial sectors where the groups have not been formed. And in fact, there are a number of intricacies of issues which need to be dealt with. This will perhaps be the last window for thrashing out the complexities and bring clarity regarding taxation of these sectors. There are many more areas. Other day I saw a statement from the chairman of the State Bank of India. He said the tax, the intricacies of the problems are humongous among the bankers. How we are going to deal with it is another matter. I don't find any committee or a group formed to look into that part. There is no clarity with regard to the issues like excise-free zones, special economic zones of the Northeast, many other states, backward states, SEZs, and in fact this will discriminate towards the development of these regions. I don't say that you have no heart to them. Northeast regions, you have a heart, but it's not enough to have a only political heart. You must have the real heart. Look into their agonies and the problems. And in fact, what will happen to them now? You have brought in an anti-profiteering clause under GST here. They are proposed to examine whether any reduction in a business cost base or cost or tax rate due to the implemented GST is passed on to the consumers in the form of appropriately reduced rates. There is no clarity how this provision could be implemented. is a market economy, where the demand and supply, they play the role. And in fact, Malaysian government informed industries and other concerned stakeholders regarding the implementation of this provision much in advance. You are suddenly bringing it. How it is going to, in a market economy, how you can operate it, how you can invoke it. Ultimately, then the number of people who can be put inside the jail for no reason. Somebody must have paid excess, somebody would not have, because of the ignorance of law, they could not abide by that. And GST's anti-profiteering penal provision is far too vague and draconian. And it could discourage companies from making efficiency improvements in supply chains, as they are required to pass on the entire benefit to consumers. Chief Economic Advisor of our own government has made impatient plea to bring real estate under the GST net, linking it to the war against black money, the very important measure like the real estate, which is supposed to, that is supposed to be the area which brings in a lot of generates a lot of black money. And you are just ignored it. You are not included in this. Whether any lobbies have played the game?
Yes.
Or innocently you could not do it, or you may be thinking of some other strategy. That's a different matter. But in the absence of a clear understanding how this provision will be implemented, proposal appears to be intrusive, that goes against the objects of ease of doing business. This will be ultimately anti-profiteering provision, will be draconian in nature. Policy should be also GST implementation policy is meant to be a self-policing act. But the present provision of the harsh scrutiny is not substantially different from the present system. Interstate movement of goods. Again, there is substantial increase in the administrative and documentation. This will increase red tapeism. This will be an impediment in business operations. And GST law states that the government may require a person transporting any consignment of goods of value exceeding a specified amount to carry with him such documents as they may prescribe in the behalf that a tax officer can intercept the vehicle at any point, any time. Yeah. What is the difference? Can create a lot of this creates a barrier with the fundamental goals of GST. It goes against the heart, soul of the GST. This is again a very important matter where we require the intervention of the finance minister. The documents prescribed for interstate government of goods may be invoice generated by vendors, or interception should be an exception basis rather than a routine matter of check. And I think it will ultimately, this provision will also turn out to be retrograde. Entry tax is not clear with respect to the merger of these taxes with the GST. As far as the tax rates are concerned, of course you have already come out, but high rates will be damaging for the industry as well as the consumers. The government must resist from pursuing too many goods or services under the 18% bracket. There are too many rates. One nation, one tax. Yeah. This is what everybody is made to understand.
Yes.
It's only a myth. It's only a myth which is exploded by their own provisions, even at this stage. There are too many rates, virtually 7, yeah, including exemption, lower rate on bullion, cesses, surcharges, etc. This itself will defeat the objective of GST. That's why I say that what you have brought today, I cannot call it, or nobody can call it a game changer. It is only one baby step forward. I don't give more credit than a small baby step forward. Not a great reform which will make a game change in this country as it is intended by rhetoric which followed with the GST provisions. Regarding the cesses, we also don't know the fate of various cesses, surcharges, additional excise duty. As this is cess, surcharge, many of these segments are the real factors to distort the taxation structure. We need a clarification. Current rate structure, a cess has been proposed on luxury and sin goods over and above the higher rate, GST rate of 28%. In fact, we'll have to settle this. Once for all, there should have been some prohibition, strict prohibition to ensure that no cess, surcharge, additional excise duty will be imposed henceforth. This should have been the real intent. It should have been the genuine and legitimate intent. But I think at least this will have to be done. Taxation of self-supplies proposes all interstate movement of goods, services between two divisions of the same legal entity will be subject to tax. It will lead to significant compliance difficulties so far as these provisions are concerned. In fact, any movement of goods and services from one state to another becomes subject to tax. Head office interacting with this production plant or distribution center is another state will now be considered to be rendering a service which would need to be valued and recorded in the books of account and then tax remitted on it. Same would apply to the marketing of our business development support provided by a group in one state to fellow team members in another state. And in fact, itself, the federal court came and said it is quashed. We are not vigilant, either in the judiciary or in the executive. Federal court. Then they did it. I must tell you, but we don't take anything sensitive. We are not worried about it. As usual, as business as usual. Chalta hai. This is the attitude with which we all work. And ultimately what will happen? Many such provisions of the Constitution tomorrow may be abrogated by this government or any other government. You have set example today. Now the subsequent governments will follow this example. Many of these powers of the Parliament, many of these powers of Rajya Sabha, many of the powers of this Lok Sabha could be taken away or abrogated by means of some constitutional amendment or in the name of the constitutional amendment or something like that. So this is what one need to be. Legislative independence is fundamental, right? And you have dealt with that here. Any ambiguity on this issue will lead to a hassle for the taxpayer who will not get any relief whatsoever. I will have to file multiple forms, multiple returns, and also to multiple authorities. It is all added. This idea is not that. It has to be a simplified taxation. I would like the Honorable Finance Minister to spell out how this basic provision of tax compliance and tax reporting will be simplified from the point of view of the taxpayer. Will this bill address the long pending grievances and concern of the taxpayers in indirect taxes, free them from dual and multiple compensations? How do you calculate the slabs?
Yes.
New definition of agriculture sector in GST bill. What was the need? When the agriculture is... It's a new India. Yeah. So new agriculture. This is a GST new agriculture tax. Will bring in agriculturists in the back door into the tax net even as most farm produce are exempted from GST. This is also a transgression of the fundamental basic principle of Indian taxation.